Fair Board and our staff that's here, Amy Crook.
Casey Daly, the manager.
All right. We need to approve the minutes from our special meeting, special Fair Board meeting of February 27th, 2025.
I don't remember those.
I move the minutes be approved.
Right here.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been a motion, a second, to approve the minutes from the special board meeting from February 27th, 2025. Linda Cross,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Mike Casperger, Mike McCabe.
I don't, was I here? Has anybody got those minutes I'm looking for on that group? Seems like I missed one.
I don't think you were,
Haley sent them out via email for review.
What's this? What's the date? What date was it?
27th
Seven.
of February.
What tab are they under?
Agenda.
should be on the agenda.
The
Minutes.
consent agenda, yeah.
February, I got February 10th.
Oh, that was, yeah, that's the one, but it actually wasn't on the 10th, it was the 27th.
Okay. Was I here? Didn't say so.
Not sure. It would say in the minutes, I feel like you were there for part of it, at least.
Okay.
That was a long one. I think you might have left
Oh,
early.
yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
and how do you vote?
Oh, it was yes.
All right.
Say yes.
And Gail Merritt's an aye, so the motion carries. We also need to approve the minutes for March 17th, 2025, a regular meeting.
I move we approve the minutes of the March 27th,
17th,
17th.
St. Patty's Day.
I remember that one well.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we've had a motion and a second to approve the minutes from March 17th, 2025, our regular meeting. Any discussion? All right, Linda Cross,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Mike Casperger.
Aye.
All right, and Gil Merritt is an aye. All right, do we have any public comments today?
Troublemaker, Sarah.
No, I don't have
Troublemaker.
Would you like to speak to us?
Nope, I don't have anything.
All right. Casey, the Crook River Roundup contract renewal discussion.
Okay, so in your tab is the memorandum that shows their counter offer.
Which tab, sorry?
This-
Right in the front. Right in the front of your binder.
It's not in the binder, it's just
It's
laying
right in the
around.
front, look, it's right underneath
I got
it.
it.
Yep.
Okay. So, this is the counteroffer from the Crooked River Roundup. Larry Blanton and Casey Kaiser actually attended this meeting. And so, Larry, I think I'm gonna call on you to just kind of give an overview of the numbers speak for themselves about maybe the mood of the meeting and the decorum.
Yeah, we had a good meeting. We met with, Steve and Doug. Steve just. Holiday and Doug,
Smith.
and there was a gal there, sorry.
Laura McDaniel?
Yes.
Daniel, Laura
Yeah.
Daniel.
Casey and I, met with him. We had some good discussion back and forth. It was respectful, both ways. They, had a preference that we go back to an original format from last year's contract, and I believe we're pretty close to that, in terms of the original format. They wanted to negotiate the 30,000, so we went back and forth a little bit. They wanted a perpetual contract, we didn't agree to that, we agreed to 3 to 5 year. And when I say agreed, that's what Casey and we didn't speak for and say, you know, the board would pass this or any of that, so this is just what Casey and I think is reasonable and prudent for consideration as I go forward.
I just want to clarify that it is Casey Kaiser that you're talking about, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Too many Caseys and too many
Yes.
Mikes.
Yes, yeah.
But
I mean,
they thought they could, so we went back and forth a little bit for the annual, fee, and we agreed that 25,500, was reasonable. Wanted to make sure that we got in an annual increase each year, regardless of the length of the contract, whether it was 3 or 5 years.
Larry, let me interrupt you real quick. Has the consumer price index ever been 0?
Well, I'll tell you why we did that.
Okay.
I don't know if it has or not, but it's been close. We agreed to a floor and a ceiling for an increase, so whatever the CPI is, not to exceed 7.5, frankly, is what the contract would read.
Oh,
0 to 7.5, so a floor and a ceiling.
did we put 4 for? Never mind.
Well, actually, that's my jargon. Casey had it.
0 to 5.
Casey had it, or excuse me, 0 to 5.
Yes.
Casey had it written one way, and I suggested he change it back, but that's just the school I come from. For contracts I negotiated, so 0 to 5 is what, we can change that if the board desires. 7.5 for, the concessions, commission. They were kind of pushing 5, but we agreed to 7.5. If we came off of the 30,000 to 25.5, so it's kind of a push as far as I'm concerned. They were in agreement to, the use of those funds from commission to go to the dedicated capital expenditure, fund, so it was a good conversation as far as I'm concerned. Of course, they're wanting to get it signed and sealed and delivered so they can say they do have a contract, because they're moving forward with a lot of things, understandably. But we didn't have any, there was a few stories about what used to be and what could have been, and then we got past that and got to business, so it was fine. Well, anyway,
So in this term, the 3 to 5 years,
yeah.
is there gonna be something a little more firm in the contract?
I don't know, Casey, what,
So we're gonna open that to discussion to the board.
Okay.
This is all gonna be up to you guys
Okay.
today. All right.
yeah. We
This
told.
is just their counteroffer.
Okay.
I totally understand why they would like 3 years or 5 years instead of on a yearly basis, but is 5 years too much?
Yes, way
Yes.
too much.
Yes, it is.
I'm saying 2, I'd go with 3 max.
There is language in the contract, like as it is now, using the same format as the last contract, where you guys as a board can, basically, you know, say in writing, like, this contract's not working
Yeah,
for us
something that-
anymore. Yeah,
yeah.
so, you know, even if it is a 5-year or 3-year, you guys are always able to,
Yeah.
it's not working out, able to cancel that.
Yeah, the only thing is, if it was stipulated at 3, then you wouldn't be, then you know you wouldn't have to negotiate every year.
No, that's nice, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, there's something to be said for that.
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
It's kind of a pain, really.
Yes.
it is.
Well, I'd go 3.
I don't know what anybody else might have to think about, what we thought was reasonable for the annual payment and the potential annual increase depending on what the CPI, we had to base it on something. So CPI is normally, in my experience, about 3 to 4%, somewhere in there, typically about where it is. And then the 7.5 was actually 2.5% more than what we had the other, but the money's less, so I think it's about,
Well,
Well, based on last year, we didn't share in the, we didn't earn a commission on the food and non-alcoholic beverages, where we just shared in the alcoholic beverage sales. So just the 7.5% on the non-alcohol and the food sales puts us at a step ahead. In addition, going from the 5% to the 7.5% also gets us closer to that kind of top line number we want to be at when we started all of this with.
yeah.
And so, I really think it is, it's a, plus and up for us as far as revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like zero annual adjustment. I'd like to see 2 in there at least.
Well, I think, if we went back, that was a negotiated thing to try to get, and that's one thing that we got at, from, one reason we were able to move to 7.5 on the commission was the give and take on that, because they referenced times where, they didn't have a growth in attendance and this and that, and if they had some more of those years, then they would feel better if it was based on something.
All right, yeah, that's good. We'll just leave it.
I don't disagree, but I think that's a good
Yeah, that's,
compromise.
yeah.
And we're using Larry's, not Larry, I'm sorry, Larry, Eric's, version, not the old version, or are we using the old version?
We went back to the old contract, it was originated in 2015. It got us up till last year.
Okay.
Okay.
So essentially, it's written, I think I shared it with Larry and Casey Kaiser, and they both had looked at it. There wasn't any issues, but we were kind of waiting for this meeting to transpire before we went, and sit to kind of see what the board wanted, the direction they wanted to go.
So we have had in the past issues with, doing projects and then coming in wanting to get paid for them. So
Correct.
is that been
Yes, so, how we were gonna rectify that is that the money is gonna come to the fair board rather than the Crooked River Roundup. And then the way we've got it structured is they'll get 1/3 of the project money up front. Then they'll have a benchmark when they get the halfway mark, and then they'll have another benchmark when the last third is paid.
Okay.
So the fair board at this point will control everything that's happening.
But do they have to submit a proposal on what
Yes.
they want to do with that money?
Yes.
So are they responsible for any excess amount over the? what we-
It has to be in their proposal before we'll pay for it.
That's a fifth of budget.
So I think what Mike was getting at is they didn't always present a proposal until after the work was done, and then they would bring something in.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they didn't really tell us much about it.
So now they have to give us a proposal?
Now they have to get us a proposal, all the fair board members have to sign off on it before it gets approved.
Nice.
There is a possibility, more of a question than it is a comment, that we would also agree that that needs to be completed, whatever that is, a project, and we might add some capital to it as well, right, maybe?
If it's a project that we,
Yeah. Yeah.
There is not gonna be a project that does not benefit the fairgrounds and or the community at large. We are not gonna fund projects that are eccentric to the Crooked River Roundup.
Yeah.
So,
Well, okay, and I'll shut up, but, since this is kind of a new program, and Larry, I commend you for doing a good job for the negotiating, but I'd like to see it stay at 3 years. We'll go 3 years under this proposal and see how things are working. So, is that gonna cause any grief?
I don't think so, because the draft contract you showed us,
This is 3 to 5.
yeah, but the draft contract, at least,
I think I left it blank.
No, you did,
this is just
Just the memo.
This
These
is
are
just
just
a
notes.
draft memo for conversation.
well, you had 2 years, Bill,
What's that?
2 years of escalation. Escalate increase over a 2-year period to reach the 37.7.
Well, it'll be an escalation of 3 years if that's what you agree to.
So Mike, what you're looking at is our original proposal to them. This is what they've,
Came back
And what
Come back
what we
to-
negotiated,
at.
yeah.
Yes.
I guess another way to do that, or maybe think of it as 3-year contract with rights to renew for an additional 2, one at a time.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That
so I
sounds
missed
good.
something here, so, for 3 years, what did you say it would lock us into?
So if you agree to a 3-year contract, then the CPI will be observed every anniversary, and then we would make an increase there
On the base.
on the base.
Oh. So it doesn't really matter whether it's 3 or 5, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
What did you say, Captain?
What's that?
Chief. I'm sorry.
I think if we, I think if we did the 3-year with, the ability to extend up to 5 years at a time, I think that's reasonable. I think the 25/5 is reasonable. I think the 0 to 5 is reasonable, because if you look back, we didn't have anything. That's why we had to negotiate every year.
Right.
And I think the 7.5 gets us, like Casey Daly said, I think that gets us closer to between 30 and 35 or 7 when what we first mentioned anyway.
If we choose to keep it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not trying to be just a hoodlum here. I think the rodeo and races are a great part of our community, great part of our community, so. But at the same time, I think it's incumbent on us to cut the good deal. I think we're getting, I think you guys made that happen.
So 38 was the target number that we were kind of reaching for. I think we're within probably $1,000 of that with this agreement.
Great.
So the food and
With the food, with the addition of the food and non-alcoholic beverages.
really, wow, okay. Perfect. Thank you, Larry, for doing this.
Oh, yeah, Casey and I, and Haley was here. She was out with listening, see if the volume came up. She said it didn't come up too loud. But we were fine. It was good.
I drove by and saw your rigs here and kept going.
Thanks for your help.
I wasn't a part of it, it wasn't me, so.
No, that was fine. There was no issue.
So now what's the next step, Casey?
If this is agreeable to the board, then we need a motion and a second to move forward.
I move that we move, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I move that we move forward with 3-year term, base rent at 25.5, annual adjustment 0 to 5% based on the CPI, 7.5% on the non-alcoholic beverages, 7.5% on the alcoholic beverages. Did I say non?
Mhm.
And a 5-year renewal.
And 5-year renewal?
No,
Well,
no,
You
3.
said
it's
3.
3, okay.
3 with 1 and 1.
With one,
and
1
1.
year, extendable for 2
So
years.
you wanna go 3 years with a 1-year renewable?
Option for,
Yeah, an option for 1 year at a time, up to 5.
Okay.
So an additional 2 years.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Go year to year on the last 2.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to, accept the term of 3 years with the option of extending it 2 more years. Base rent $25,500 annually, the annual adjustment 0 to 5%. Commission on gross revenue, the 7.5 on all food and non-alcoholic beverage sale, 7.5 on all alcoholic beverage sales, and the use of commission funds dedicated to future capital projects and improvements on the fairgrounds. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss, I don't wanna get in the weeds too far, but in the past, we've had bills for work sent into us that were basically on a napkin. And I think we had $5,000 on this, and I think we need to have a little more control on that, maybe backed up with invoices or something.
So, if this is agreed to this evening, what I'll do is I will send a draft out to all of you. And if there's additional verbiage you want in there, then we'll put it in. We'll get it off to legal and get it looked at. And then, so,
Okay.
you'll each have the opportunity to put in whatever you'd like. Not take anything out, but put in.
Okay.
okay, roll on, Big River.
All right. Let's have a vote. Linda Cross,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Mike Casperger,
Aye.
Mike McCabe,
Aye.
Gail Merritt is an aye, so the motion carries. So,
Okay? We'll send the draft out.
Really, how they spell the names is different. That was hard.
Thank you, Larry, for doing that.
yes,
You and Casey both did this.
all right. Casey, is this you, formation of
Yeah,
committee to
so
review
at our
alcohol?
March 17th meeting, I asked if anybody had interest in being part of the committee to review our RFP submissions for our alcohol providers. So Casey Kaiser has said that he would like to do it, so I'm looking for one more board member if anybody's interested.
Do we have a opportunity to do that?
I can do it.
Okay.
It's in your agenda.
Okay, so we have Casey Kaiser and Linda Cross that are going to be on your committee.
So Linda, the RFP closes on April 30th.
Okay.
So after we get all the submissions, we'll get together and get a schedule and we'll look at them all.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds great.
All right, review and approval of community sponsorship mailer.
So in your tab, you'll see a yellow, or right at the front of your binder is just a yellow one pager that we put together. I know Gail's already complained about the font size,
It's like our budget.
It's a bit small.
but
I saw
But
that.
to get it on one page, that's
You have to.
kind of how we had to do it. Essentially, it's a little blurb that talks about the fair, why we have the fair for free. We don't charge for admission, we don't charge for parking. It's all about the kids. This will go to every address in Crook County, which equals 10,128 addresses. And if we're open for discussion, if you want to see it souped up, this was pretty basic. You can donate online. All you have to do is hit that QR code with your phone. It'll take it to our website.
It works.
Oh, you just tried it?
Even
There
an
you
idiot like me can do it.
go.
And they can also choose to mail it in. It looks like
Correct.
if they want to mail it in.
Yes, so, we kind of have a target date on this after the horse races. Kind of that lull between the horse races and when fair starts.
Okay,
We think that's the best time to get it out there. We're gonna use a program, at the post office called Every Door Delivery. And to hit every address in Crook County, it's $2,258 for this mailer,
Now, like I get one,
like you would get one, unless I excluded your address.
So what was the
For
price?
some reason.
Price again, Casey?
$2,258. So we did get a quote from Minuteman Express over in Sisters, I believe it was, to actually create this, print it, and do the mailer, and it was about $20,000.
oh,
Wow.
It was quite a bit.
I like the 1200 a lot better.
Yeah,
This $2,258.
2250.
So,
I think we can easily get that back and more.
yeah,
Yeah.
so.
So, and Haley will make these, or is somebody, or are you having an outfit do it?
No, I made these, and,
You'll print them?
we'll just print them here, we'll just get some colored paper, and we'll have to print
10,000.
10,000 of them.
And how about sealing them?
So I got little clear dots that you bend over, and like, I think Ace Hardware does that, something like that. So, yeah, we got the little dots.
Holler when you need help. Haley.
We'll need
I'm
help.
not gonna miss, that means they're off of these ones.
We will need help.
The only thing that I might suggest, maybe what if you, to make it a little bit easier on some of the older eyes, maybe how about bolding it all?
We could bold it all, I
And then-
can't change the font.
No, okay, no, but, and then with no cost to the public, you could make that a different color. Possibly,
could.
so it would stand out a little bit better, that's the only thing I would, it looks really good to me.
Okay.
That, I don't
So
know if
just
that
bold
would,
everything, huh?
I would think maybe.
I'm
that
hoping
might
that
make it
bolding
a little
won't
bit-
change the
Oh, the.
It'll probably change
the size.
Mhm.
Oh, it will?
I don't know,
Just
we'll
a
have to see,
little.
Oh,
we'll have to see.
okay, otherwise,
It-
It's-
I mean,
it's
ta-
the way it is,
It's
yeah.
taken a lot just to get it
yeah, okay,
right here.
that's fine.
Or maybe you could at least bold your donation will help cover the essentials here. Like around the-
Angela? You got your reading glasses?
I'll just use my phone, I'll take a picture.
Thank you.
No, I think it looks good.
Is there room for your little ribbon on here, timeless tradition?
How about back here?
Maybe I could send it.
Yeah, we can try.
Cause I think that's, kinda speaks to
Yeah.
what we're doing too.
Yeah, I can send
We could do it up front anywhere,
That's what I mean.
I'm not sure,
I don't know if we have to, I
Oh,
don't know if
yeah.
there's room there or not.
I think we've got plenty of room up front. It's inside where we,
Yeah,
it's really
sure,
tight.
right.
I think that kinda speaks to,
Mm-hmm.
we're continuing to,
Okay, but I already got you my $500, right?
Yes. Thank you. So we'll exclude you from the mailing.
no, that one didn't count.
We want more.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Did it work, Angela?
That's what I was trying to.
My Casper can get it to work.
Anybody.
You need anything else from us?
No,
on
I
this?
just guidance from you guys,
Yep.
this is good, and we got it.
It's good, yeah.
So we'll add the things that you want
And you thought we would send it out after the.
after the horse races. I think it won't get, kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, and, Brother Reed, I agree with that.
Are they gonna be just like this?
Mhm. Yeah,
Same, nothing's gonna change?
No, we're gonna put a couple things, we're gonna bold it, if we can.
You can't take anything off, but do you I'll just take this one?
Sure, Mike. Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
So we're,
it's a great idea.
they're just gonna sort through all of it and pull out Mike McKay.
Yeah. What, send me 6 of them then.
All right. We're down to board members' reports.
I just have a question, so are you gonna give us a report? Have we gotten anything back from our other one?
Yeah. Mhm. That's part of my report.
Okay.
She's
Yeah.
further down on the
I'll
list.
get back.
Oh, way down there, okay.
Okay, Mike McKay, do you have anything?
No. Again, I just wanna appreciate the work that Doug and Steve Holiday did, and, Larry get this is a pretty big deal in our world, both theirs and ours, so I wanna appreciate them spending the time to get this for us.
Thank you.
Mike Casper, Larry,
No, ma'am, I'm good.
Linda,
I do. I talked to Linda Smith, and she is going to do the Veterans Breakfast.
Good.
So she is very happy to help us with that.
cool.
Yeah.
Larry, can you give us just a brief update about Saturday night's dinner?
Yeah,
So,
so Saturday night's dinner went fine.
So that was a clean deal?
Yeah, I think they were hoping for a few more people there, but I think they raised some money. There were a few empty tables there, but I would just like to say, it seems like everything in this community is so well supported and appreciated, and there were probably as many Roundup board members there as there were other folk, and they're also opening their wallet and supporting too, so it doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
Found the cinnamon rolls to be a little expensive, but we bought some anyway. I
Worth
think they were
it.
like $18 a piece.
Were they Rick's? Did Rick make them?
I've still got one left at home. Yeah, they're good. And they had some nice items. Food was good. It was very good. It was fun.
thank you.
Did you
And
have
I'm
any-
sure that all the board members know that we, the fair, give them 500 a year for that, and that had been sent there. So we do our part, so.
That's great.
Okay, nothing else, Linda?
No, I don't have anything else.
All right, I don't have anything either. So, Haley,
Okay, before I start, I just wanna go back to number 3 and talk about the process of that committee. The committee's reporting to you, Casey?
Yes.
Okay. So they're gonna review them and then give you their
Correct.
ideas, and then you're gonna take that into the board, okay? Just making sure. Okay, so, to answer Larry's question, we did our sponsor mail out, thank you everybody who came and helped with that. That went out, we've got a lot of responses already. I had 9 people that have mailed in sponsorship checks, and then a couple that haven't mailed anything in, but they've reserved stuff over the phone. And then I'm working out a unique deal with, the Post Printing Services, I think that's what it's called, in Redmond. They wanted to do kind of an in-kind sponsorship, and so I'm talking to them about doing like our fair posters and our A-frame posters and some banners and things like that. So, moving right along, which is really exciting. We've also gotten a huge response for vendors. I mean, it being not even the end of April, we only have 15 spots left, and there was 101 available. So, yeah, we're getting really full, which is fantastic, because once those spots are filled, then we can start, doing other work. So, so nice to just not have that going to the last minute. Along the line of vendors, we have 1 food vendor spot left, and potentially 2, if we can kind of resituate, squeeze things, or maybe move a vendor to another location. But I included kind of our contenders. I wanted your guys' feedback. So there's 4 food vendors that could have this spot number F3 on the map that's on the back. The back page.
Food is, let's get right to it.
Let's get right to it. So, we already have Mexican food, boba tea and kind of Asian-y food, barbecue, corn dogs, fried fair food and slushies, kettle corn, lemonade, Dippin' Dots, shaved ice, and ice cream. So we're looking for one more, like, food vendor, like, meals to round that out. So,
This one's got fried ice cream rolls.
I know, I've never seen that before. So China Station has done a lot of other Oregon County fairs. they're a new applicant. They sent me a bunch of references, and this is kind of what they offer, Chinese food, obviously. Uncle's Grill is also a new applicant. We haven't seen them yet. They've also done a lot of county fairs in Oregon. And they own a food truck, and they have a full-time food truck and a brick and mortar, and they're like kind of rebranding for this season. Those are, she calls them her Korean corn dogs, and they're like rolled in different toppings, and then they're like, yeah. But they also do Philly cheesesteaks, burgers, and then like Hawaiian shaped ice that has like toppings on it, so fancier than like Kona ice. And then Brian's Concessions is also a new applicant. They do a lot of county fairs in California, but they got Oregon State Fair this year, and so they're trying to fill up their routing up until State Fair. And they specialize in kind of build your own baked potatoes, loaded fries, potatoes on a stick, caramel, and candy apples. And then one more, Sarika Thai, who we've had for several years now. They indicated that they were going to apply, but they haven't yet. But they were the ones out here who were doing the elephant ears, the Thai food, the noodles, the rice. So kind of have like 4 options, and most food vendors especially like to know sooner rather than later, so they can apply elsewhere if needed. So the only thing that I would like to note is Brian's Concessions is huge. Like you can see like in this picture, these are people on stilts, and you see how high his display
Oh, wow.
can potentially go. He's used to doing huge like California fairs, so might be kind of overwhelming and large for us. He also needs 28 by 25 feet. So yeah.
You don't have that, do you?
Yeah.
Well, we can make it work, and place them in a specific place, but, it would be tough, and I think that it would look a little out of place personally, but
Might be a little bit much for us.
a little bit much.
Yes.
So I just wanted to hear your guys' feedback, kind of what you think.
As a potato farmer, potatoes look good.
I know,
Baked potatoes.
I love that idea.
Mike and I'd like to eat 4 or 5 of these corn dogs.
Yeah. One of these.
I would also say this Brian's Concessions would be, might not make it fair for everybody else kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
In terms of that would look like the marquee.
yeah,
Right.
right, yeah.
Other than that, I don't have a preference. Trust your judgment.
Okay.
That's me anyway.
I would agree with Larry.
So do you guys think that a more like Asian food booth would
Yeah,
do better for this community than
we
like
have-
Philly cheesesteaks and burgers?
We
Or
have
what do you think would be
we
best?
have any of these already.
Well, Boba Plastic does, they do like a poke bowl and spring rolls and gyoza. So they do a little bit of Asian stuff.
They're pretty big on orange chicken.
What are Boba Plastic's chicken?
I like green chicken.
They like green eggs and ham too.
What do you like, Angela?
I would probably go with one of the, like the potato deal maybe, something different.
Fried rice, fried chicken, fried chicken. There you go.
As long as there's elephant ears, I don't know, is that one of the vendors?
Last year Sarika Thai did elephant ears.
That's a big hit for people.
Yeah,
Those blooming
they're my
onions.
favorite fair foods.
Does anybody else do the blooming onions that we
Not
have?
that I know.
Those seem to go over.
Yeah.
Do we have somebody doing curly fries? We got eaten by some ladies one year. And we had
I
curly
think we do
fries.
have curly fries.
I think Mary's doing them.
Is Mary?
Mary has been doing it, but I think that the potato guy here also does it.
Oh, it is, okay.
Uncle's Grill.
Yeah.
He might.
Loaded tornado potatoes, so they're not just potatoes.
That's what this is on the stick. They spiralize them,
Yeah, they'll bang your shoulder.
stretch them out and fry them, and then you can squeeze your toppings on there. So fun.
That's a Korean corn dog. I mean, these are Korean, I guess,
Different,
just,
I don't
different,
know what makes them Korean.
different stuff, different,
Yeah, just different.
Probably the topping, but a suit.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't think that these would compete too much with Corn Dog Company,
No.
because they seem really different, but.
That one looks interesting.
Okay, well, if you guys don't have a preference, then
No.
Casey and I will talk about it. Okay. So the premium book is finished, it's sitting in bed, waiting for me to pick them up. I'll probably do that this week. I have all of the entry forms and volunteer form and everything are fillable PDFs online now, so people can go in and like do all their entries instead of walking in here, asking me for a paper, standing at the counter, filling it out, handing it to me, I make them a copy. Now they can fill it out online, send it to us. Nobody has to get in the car, and I think that'll be great for everybody. The livestock entry form has a clickable link that takes you to our Square online store, so people can also pay for their livestock that they're entering into fair online. So that's also really nice. Excited about that part. We're continuing to talk with some partners about doing different activities, educational and just fun activities at fair. So far, we have the Bowman Museum on board, Parks and Rec, the library, the Forest Service, BLM, Crook County Fire and Search and Rescue, High Desert Wool Rowers, and then we're continuing to talk to some folks, and we're really looking for like on-site engagements, not just sitting in a booth, but like, you know, having educational things on the stage or activities out on the grass, games. We did have an additional face painter apply, and she does glitter tattoos and hair tinsel and hair feathers and stuff too, and I think we're gonna have her on board. I think we're still deciding whether we wanna pay her to be at fair and offer that stuff for free, or if she's gonna charge people, I'm not sure, we're still talking that out, but contracts are going out to judges and superintendents, static judges and superintendents. And then my next steps are just getting those contracts from our entertainers that we will have, so pony rides and that sort of thing, so. Trucking right along, that's kind of all, oh yeah, sorry, two more things. So this is what I am proposing for the fair poster. Looks like our premium book cover, except I took off the premium book. And then I added, you know, free parking, free admission, free entertainment. And then there's our QR code, and then our contact information on there. So the final posters will have a bleed, so our purple will go to the edge. There won't be
Who
a white
did we
edge.
finally end up with on entertainment?
Who did we what?
End up with entertainment,
For like concerts?
yeah.
So Wednesday night is open.
Yeah, we're still open.
Thursday night, we're gonna do a line dancing, which will be just music or a DJ doing it.
Yeah.
And we'll have line dancing lessons underneath the tent. Thursday is going to be Court Pride Day and the Lord Wally Band, and then Saturday we'll end up with Country Fight like we have always closed out with. So I think we're good. We're working on Wednesday. We did have somebody that was going to donate a band, but we haven't really heard from them since then, so we might be going down our own path here pretty quick. Regardless of what path we go down, it's probably gonna be somebody local.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I know Dry Canyon Stampede has reached out to me a couple of times. They're from Bend, they've played here a few times.
they were very popular.
And they
when
kind of
they
travel with
They
their
were
own,
very popular.
their own fan base, so,
Mhm.
so we're working on Wednesday.
Okay.
We do need to make some accommodations for Wednesday night's ceremony, opening ceremony, because we want to recognize the sales committee, Dan McNary and his group, the 4-H leadership, and our new 4-H coordinator, whatever her title is, so just make sure that we have some extra time there for that, along with the fair boards.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. They do all this work behind the scenes, nobody knows who they are.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, that's an
And
excellent.
are we going to use the NGROTC again?
Yes.
So
That's already been set.
you said that.
NJRTC is going to do all the parking, they're gonna do colors. They're willing to do colors at the vet's breakfast on that morning, so. The local law enforcement is gonna
Serve.
pick up and serve, so.
And there
Okay.
will be a buyer's breakfast, it sounds like.
Yes, and there will be a buyer's breakfast on Friday morning.
Great.
Like last year. Is the sheriff's department putting it on again?
Actually, Ray Austin from Country Financial is the one that, I think Bill Elliott kind of handed it off.
Oh.
I don't think Bill has the bandwidth.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But there will be one, it'll be Friday morning.
So it might be off the subject, but since we're talking about that area where all those meals are served, are we gonna receive that in grass before fair?
We're trying to get on it right now. So,
You got time?
What's that?
You got time?
It's about time, yeah.
Well, are you thinking about going with solid?
No, we're just gonna use some hydro seed.
Have time? Yeah.
They're in town too.
Mm-hmm,
You guys got them in town?
mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, Haley,
Okay,
do you have anything else?
Yeah, last thing, I've also included this, so Prineville Play Cafe has inflatables that they rent out. Festival jumpers, which we normally have at fair, with the 3 bouncy houses down there. I don't know if he's coming again, he probably is, but he also is planning to move to like Texas or something, or he bought a house in Texas and spends half his time there, and it's, he indicated last year that, this wasn't gonna last forever, our relationship with him, so.
We already got one of those.
Right, so we already have, well, last year we had this, I'm not sure if we're gonna have the same guy here this year. But these, I wanted to share with you guys, she reached out and said that she has these available. These are wet bouncy houses.
Oh, sweet.
So there's like a slip inside, and then the one on the bottom, the dolphin one, is a wet or dry. You can remove the pool if you wanted to, but, these are something that we can have in addition to the bouncy houses we already
have some angry
have.
parents.
Or instead of, well, I think, we just be careful how we advertise it and the
Yeah.
signage we use. Maybe it's the last stop for families of the day, but, she's local,
Kids
so.
would love it.
When did you talk to her, Haley?
A couple months ago.
She
Okay.
had a post yesterday that she was looking for someone to take over the Prineville Play Cafe, so. I'm gonna
Yes.
check that one out.
Yeah.
I just got an email from her a couple weeks ago. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll reach out
That's
again.
what I was wondering about that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was willing to do both the bouncy houses for Thursday through Saturday at $1,000 for both. And they're fully insured by her. And she said, as long as we have signage telling parents that they need to stay and supervise, that we don't need to provide supervision. So, if this is
Yes.
something you guys are interested in, then.
There's a price tag.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, anything else, Haley?
That's it.
I ain't too excited about that.
No?
Floor is yours, Casey.
Okay, so where are we at? Oh, financial report. So in your front of your binder is the latest and greatest financial report. I think I just put it in the front, Mike.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Just that one.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
You can read it.
No, that's the next one.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just right,
What's in under reports?
reports,
Yeah.
yes.
Right, there you go.
okay.
Yeah, and we can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this morning, both Haley and I did look it over, I don't see anything, out of the norm. We've got about 60 days left in our budget. So we think we're in pretty good shape. We've had a couple of gotchas that I'll mention here in a minute, and, we've got some fixes for those, so. Please take this home, study it. Got any questions, let me know.
Okay.
The next one is the 2026 budget that is being presented to the budget committee.
is this document,
Oh,
okay?
Mhm.
And this is strictly draft form right now. So this is what will be presented to the budget committee for them to vote on. So this is what the county treasurer, with our input, has.
Change
Submitted.
over from the year
Okay.
prior,
Okay.
so
Okay,
less,
So when does that get finalized?
is that much
Um,
less than it was in?
May, I think it's May 13th.
It looks like it's got our money in it.
12th and 13th, yeah, it does. So. Please peruse this, and not, there's not a lot of changes that can be made at this point, a little bit, but got any questions? I know that this is what's gonna be presented in the document that goes out to the public. And it is May 12th and 13th, Mike. I'll be attending the Fair College again this month. I'll be in Madras Thursday and Friday. Doing that. Marshall Bex is going to start on the skylights in all of the covered barns, so those will all be brand new. They're kind of flapping in the wind right now, so those should be done before fair. There's some insulation that's hanging from the indoor arena that's come down.
Yeah.
He's also looking at getting that fixed. And I don't have a price on that, but before he starts, we'll have the price. We are in the midst of a project to tie the water tank into the irrigation system, the current one. And we had an extra pump that came off a weir that was down here by the footbridge, that we plan to use that. And put some new piping from the tank to the existing irrigation. We sent the motor out to High Tech to get it evaluated. They came back to us and said, well, that's not big enough to do what you want. So I got a bid this morning from them, it was $10,000. And I said, well, I don't have the budget for that. So they're going to refurbish and take the beads, nests and things out of that motor. We're gonna continue to use it.
Has it worked in the past?
Yes, it has, it's still functioning. It's a 7 and a.
Us?
Yes, you talked to us, so.
What did they try to get you to?
A 10 horsepower with a phase, I'm not familiar with the piece of equipment. It is it's a phase in and phase out, so you don't blow up your motor. It's not going on and off.
Yeah,
It's kind of going, it's dipping down and going back up. Soft start. Yeah, pretty
well,
much.
my pump, I got 75 horsepower to run my pivots and, it's got a, like you shut line off,
Mm-hmm.
it'll go down,
That's a VFD.
yeah. Then you turn it on, it comes back up and that's it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of friction loss because we're pushing water all the way across the street that way and all the way back. So that's why they were recommending the 10 horsepower, and I just said, we don't have it in our budget, so we're gonna do with what we got. So,
You did talk to Cooper to make sure that,
yes, I talked to him this morning about it, so. I asked for his opinion, and he said, just tell him, go jump in the lake, because you don't have the budget, and that's kind of what we did, so.
so you're looking for 10 horse?
Well, if we can find one, you know, if we can find somebody going from a 10 to a 15 horse, then yeah, maybe we could do some wheeling and dealing, but.
That was the question. Did Cooper say that you got enough power out there to run a 10 horse? Because it doesn't have to go to
No.
3 phase then?
No, we would have to re-pull for a 10 horse, because it's, at that point, we're going to a 3-phase motor.
Okay.
So,
So that's what I was gonna do, is talk to Gus and find out if
Yeah,
he's got
yeah.
somebody that's got a old pump.
okay. Our
our 50 horsepower TYM tractor, has got a blown motor.
Oh, crap.
So it went to, yeah, it was evaluated, by Leroy Mine. The whole bottom end is full of metal. And it's the tractor that we use to run our tiller.
Yeah.
So we've made arrangements for this weekend. This is our first weekend of Pee Wee this weekend. So we've made arrangements, and have a new tractor coming that will pull our, rotor tiller. But at a certain point, we're gonna have to make some kind of decision. We either get a tiller for the skid steer, a front end one, cause this is on 3-point, and make sure that that works. Because we have high school rodeo and then finals and 2 more Pee-wees to get through, so. I'll keep you.
So when you say you made arrangements, we're gonna rent one of them?
Yeah, we're gonna, just for the weekend, so.
Well, the rodeo probably, will.
They will. Parks and Rec with their drive-in movie, last year they did it out here on the grass. They've asked us if they could go do it across the street. There's less, impediments that they have to deal with, so, we said that would be fine. They're gonna have to rent their own porta potties, but I think it probably will accommodate a lot more cars. So, we're working on that. Trevor just got done with his CDL training. He still needs to take his test, or needs to retest, I think, is what, probably better. So we're kind of excited for him to have his CDL, that'd be good. We had 5 non-revenue generating events in April. BTI was one of them, and that's Baker Technical Institute doing the training out back. Senator Wyden had a town hall here, was pretty well attended. The Oregon High School equestrian teams using the inside. We've had Primal Police use Kerry Foster Hall a couple times for their testing. And we had the health department had a breakfast last Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago. Yeah.
And how did the Easter egg hunt go?
Easter egg hunt was a hit. I got a couple of pictures I can share with you, but it was just pouring rain at 10 o'clock when it was all supposed to start, so everybody was underneath the tent.
Oh.
That was kind of a blessing.
Thank
We had the shelter. But it was well attended. We had a horse show in here, and then we had the Queenie thing going on there. And then we had a celebration of life in the Grizzly Mountains, so it was a pretty busy Saturday, so. But, all in all, I think everything's going well. Hopefully, we can keep at it. So that's all I had.
Okay,
Any
sounds great.
questions for Casey?
Yeah, I got a question.
Sure.
So on your budget there,
Yes.
28.7 remaining, is that actual, or you got that spent, you think, on repairs and such for?
It just depends on which account we're taking it out of. The $2 million budget?
Materials and service?
No, it's coming out of the $2 million.
Okay, so,
That will be the same.
so the last couple meetings, you've mentioned equipment issues, just
Mhm.
because of age of equipment, and this, that, and other thing, and are you proposing any capital expenditure, big items for upcoming budget? Should we?
We did, and I'm driving part of it right now.
I mean, for upcoming budget?
Yeah, we did. We budgeted, I think it was 25,000 for equipment. We didn't specify, because we had it specified in the past that we needed a flatbed, and it got overlooked for another piece of equipment that died. And then, we took 60, 70,000 out of the 2 million and bought that new John Deere. Hopefully we can get it. The red one that just died, Larry's, quite frankly, hasn't not been a quality piece of equipment from the very start.
Well, I mean, you know the climate better than I do, and you know how to do your capital expenditure, requests and stuff, but oftentimes, in my experience, it works better if you identify a specific something, and it sounds to me like we need to do that.
So we did specify a pickup, for the 25,000. But I think it's probably gonna be something else when we get to where we need to be. So when we finally get to the point where next year we have capital, we have access to that capital, it's probably gonna be a tractor that gets either refurbished or purchased.
And that's okay, I mean, so there, you have to appropriations transfer and identify.
We'll have to go back in and rename it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that's what we'll have to, just re-identify the piece of equipment rather than the dollars.
right. And that's not easier done, ahead of time, okay.
Did your loader ever get fixed?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so that's already paid.
Did Lee give you any idea what the motor'd be for that time?
Well, it's a Perkins motor, and he can't find one. He looked, probably the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's looked for a Perkins motor for that thing. That TYM was built in Korea, and there weren't very many made with that motor, and he was just having a heck of a time trying to source one. And he said that by the time you get one, what it's gonna cost you, it's probably not worth the time and effort for that TYM.
Okay, any more questions for Casey?
No,
No?
you're doing a good job, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
Yes, you are. Well, we've come to the end of our
Okay.
agenda.
Kaylee and KBC.
Kaylee and Casey.
Mhm.
So our next regular meeting is May 19th, 2025, 5:30 here at the fairgrounds. So if we don't have any other business, we need a motion.
I would adjourn.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn our fair board meeting. Any discussion? Mike McCabe.
I was looking to make sure Angela, she always wants the last word.
I don't have anything.
That's a change.
Mike McCabe, you have to vote.
What?
You have to vote
For what?
To adjourn.
to
I made the
adjourn.
motion.
We all gotta say aye.
Oh, aye.
I'm Casper.
Aye.
Larry.
Aye.
Linda.
Aye.
And I, Gail Mary, is also an aye.
I was gonna say one more thing, I forgot, and it's not that big a deal, it's because it's public record. I think it's advertised for another position, fair board position.
Yeah, so I did make the, meeting last Wednesday and declared we had a vacancy in position number 7. So it is gonna be advertised for 30 days.
Yeah,
So if you know of quality candidates,
that's what I was gonna say.
please let them know, and it's posted out on the county's website.
Hey, meeting's adjourned.